Okay, this video is about angle walls, but before I show you that, I'm going to show you what I did to fix up the, well, I'll show you the angle wall real quick, and then I will go into detail about what I fixed. Okay, so see that? That's the angle wall. It's kind of hard to see it with the arrow. I can't show you that. I don't have my arrow pointed there, but you can see that this wall right here in front of me is angled. See at the bottom, the floor, you can see that the wall is kind of angled. It's not straight. And then over here it's the same way. It's angled. It's not straight across. You don't see where the two walls meet, but you do see that slant. And then there's a slant here on this side and a slant here. And so now that's one thing I'm going to show you how I did that, and then I'm going to show you what I fixed in the second room, and that's the rain. And I added rain audio. And I fixed up the rain, made it look more natural coming down a little bit. But before, you couldn't see the ammo, you couldn't see the weapons in the back. They were not visible. You could collect them, but they were not visible, and I had to fix that. I'll show you how I fixed that. I turned off the audio for the rain. I'll let you listen to it again. I just turned it off. I just added audio there to make it repeat. Okay, so let me show you what I did here. Alright, so the first thing I'll talk about is the angle walls. Right here, angle wall, angle wall, angle wall, angle wall. Now, with these angle walls, I had to make sure to make snap X and snap Y to grid 1. Make sure you set it to 1. And then you have to be very particular on how you arrange the wall. So if you do the angle walls, I would not make a hidden wall where you go behind it, because the wall could go through the straight wall, so you could see a flaw in the game. So I would not add any hidden wall, because I couldn't get it exactly perfect. I did the best I could with trying to make it angled and make it where it doesn't go through the wall, but it does. And some of them, I think this one and the one down here, I believe they go through the wall. I'm not sure why. I try to mess with the numbers the best I could, and it's how it is. So if you want to do the angle walls, you can, but you got to be very particular about how you line these up, and you just got to play around with it. Because you can't snap them like these straight walls you can. These straight walls you can snap a grid using 16:16. But when you do the angle walls, you got to make sure it's set to 1 to 1 so you can line it up just right, and then test it out. Make sure it's lined to your expectations. But anyways, with these angle walls, they're named differently too. So you have object wall angle, then you have object wall angle 2, and then object wall angle down left, and then angle wall down right. So that's how it has to be positioned for all those areas that you want to put angled walls in it. I tried to make a angle wall in the center here, and it just got too wide and it didn't look perfect, so I didn't mess with that. I just added the angle walls to the corner areas. Like I said, I tried to make one in the middle, and it didn't look right for some reason. So, I mean, I guess you could do a angle wall in the middle, but it would have to be this wide. So you would put one of these straight lines right here, then another straight line right in this area. But see, it's still not going to be exact. So when you play the game, you'll see the line go across the angle wall. So you're not going to get it perfect. So it's probably just best to have it the way I have it set up here, and then repeat in other areas in the game, because it doesn't look perfect when you put it in the center. So, you know, I wish with the 3D objects I showed you in my previous video, I wish they were solid and you could actually put it in your game. I mean, you can put it in your game, but you would have to put it as a background, so you can't actually touch it. You can only see it in the background. I don't know how to make it solid. You can only, I think the only way you can make it solid is if you design your 3D elements outside of GameMaker and then import them in GameMaker, and I don't know exactly how to do that, so I'm sorry, you have to watch a video on how to do 3D objects using a different program and then import it into GameMaker. I'm not getting into that. That's more detailed, it's more coding involved, and I'm not familiar with that, so I'm sorry, you'll have to watch a video, someone else's video on doing 3D, true 3D. But like I said, let me show you what I'm talking about here with these angle walls. So each angle wall has to have a certain numbers. You have to vary in the numbers. You have to how to work these numbers out to make them exactly angled. And so these numbers right here make the wall at an angle in a certain position. So this with these coordinates here, like the y, it moves it into, because y moves it up and down, x moves it side to side, like horizontal for x, y is straight up and down. So you don't mess with the z coordinate. I think the z's talk about, I think this expands it, so it stretches the wall. So if you make this more than 32, then it's going to stretch it, I believe, up and down, I believe. So 32 is the correct number for the width of the room, so I didn't mess with these numbers here. I just messed with the y and the x coordinates. So, because the regular straight walls, they don't utilize, see this straight wall, which is going to be horizontal, only messes with the x coordinates only. And then you have the other wall that goes the opposite direction, it messes with only the y coordinates. But with the angle walls, you have to have both coordinates messed with. You have to have x and y messed with to get it at an angle. And I use the same texture wall. You could do a different texture wall, have like a skeleton on it or something. Doing the angle walls, you can do whatever you want. You can do the animator walls like I talked about with the torches. You could do that too if you wanted to, whatever you want to do. I'm just talking about the angle. And I made the depth at -1 and it's parented to object basic wall, so you don't go through the wall, of course. And like I said, all these other angle walls, see, they have different coordinates as well. They utilize the x and y numbers. I just played around these numbers to get it to an angle, and I just kept playing the game, make sure it's set the way I like it. Because if you don't have it set correctly, you'll see a gap in between the straight wall and the angle wall, and so I tried to make sure there's no gap. It looks solid, you know. And if you wanted the image of the wall to blend better into the wall, you could do that. You probably could use some kind of blending technique, like the feathering technique on the sides of the wall, to make it blend more, so you don't see a crease in the line. And where you, because I noticed you probably saw in the game, that you can see a crease in the image. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, you can see there's a crease right here. So if you want, you could feather this line out so it blends better into the wall. If you don't want that crease to show, so same thing here. So it's up to you. I mean, See the crease there, so you could feather that out so it blends better into the wall if you wanted to, using Photoshop or something. But anyways, and like I said, that's just using the background images for the image of the wall. And it's like I said, the down angle images of the wall, like I said, you just mess with the numbers X and Y to get it exactly the way you want it. And that's pretty much it. And the other angle wall is just these coordinates here. So they're all different numbers that I just played around with to get it lined up just right to make it angled. Okay, so what I did to fix the rain in the second room is basically in the rain, see, this is called Rainmaker. Well, I just added sound here and made it loop true. And I just brung some audio in, called it rain. And that's it for that one. And then I added this rain right here. This rain will be on your main screen when it comes down. It's called raindrops, and basically I just made a step and draw event, and then set the coordinates to 0, 0 for Y and X, and the draw same way. Make sure that the coordinates are set to 0, 0 on the Y view and X view, and when you move, the raindrops follow you. You know, and set the depth of -1000. That's what I did before. It was actually set up in the hands for some reason. It was set up in the hands where I had the draw event was like this, and it didn't. When I had instead of the hands, it said D3D setup projection. It said D3 setup hidden. So it said all this, but instead of the hands, it was the raindrops, and it worked, but it didn't show the ammo, and it didn't show the weapon on the ground. But you were able to pick it up. You couldn't see it. So there was some kind of flaw there. So I had to do a different approach, and also set the hands to persistent. If you notice that. So in this room, right in the second room here, there's no hand with this knife. It's only going to be in the first room. So it's not necessary to have the hand with the knife in here. So I just set it persistent, so when you go to the next room, it'll be there. But in the first room, it has to be there, like I talked about in my previous video. So that has to be there in the first room, but it doesn't have to be there in the second room. But if you go to the second room before the first room, your hand with your knife is not going to be there. So you got to be in the room with the hand with the knife at the beginning, because that's how GameMaker works. You can't go to the second room and expect the hand with the knife to be there when it's set to persistent and it's not in the room. Persistent means that it continues to the next room. So you have to have an image in the first room to continue to have in the second room if you picked it up. The same applies to the weapons you pick up in the first room. It'll be in the second room if it's set to persistent. But anyways, that's pretty much it. All right, I'll put this GameMaker thing up on the YouTube, and you can download it and play around with the coordinates of the walls or whatever you want to do to work on this game. Thanks for watching.